Implementation was really the challenge because people, they didn't, it was like the number of computers at the time, they'd wheel them in on carts. I mean, it was just things, does a teacher just put something on, on the computer and show it to the whole class? So it was, how do I use this? So it was use scenarios that were tricky because it was all evolving. And, you went from, now I think every kid probably has a Chrome book or something. So every kid can get on and use it. But it really was a hard implementation uh, experience. And and then people would get together and share their experiences. And sometimes we would create videos that would be available to say, here's how you might use this in your classroom, and show different classrooms doing it in different ways. So that was probably the hardest part. People loved the content. They loved it. And we had everything tagged to national standards. And I don't know where things stand with the standards right now, because I can't imagine that somebody like Donald Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to say that everybody should have the same standards. But so everything was tagged to all of the standards. And that was what made it easy, because the teacher could type in what she was teaching, science, this particular area of science at this grade level, and get an array of what was appropriate matching those standards. That's how it worked. Um, we also always had focus groups. We always had feedback. We had constant feedback from people. So when we were developing something, we had teachers giving us feedback. We also had advisory groups for everything. So they would kind of give us the yay or nay on what we were doing. And I always said I had to get very humble, because I thought I knew, but I didn't. I really didn't. And it was, you really needed to be able to do an about face and say, okay, scrap that, not good. I loved it, but it's toast. And that was another thing. And then, and then there was also the sometimes the funders were difficult. So that made it a challenge. But I would say that the reception was great. To see an animation from a Nova show that's being used in a fourth grade science class with different narration was really thrilling. And to know that we could go shoot from scratch, we could take things from a masterpiece show, just all this stuff that was really rich. And then I think about stuff that came from other sources, like museums or libraries. So it was just, it was this opening up the archives. And there I was working with some incredibly talented people too, who were really on top of the technology end of it, the content end of it. And I was really more at a schmooze end, where I would find the money, I would do the demos, I would bring people together to observe it, to look at it. So that was great. It's really great.